show, episode, I don't know, 309?
309.
309.
Yeah.
That means we've been doing this a long time.
Third year in the running, bro. Third year in the running.
Something that started off kind of as a goof, and here we are. So good morning. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. Today we have another guest on. John and I are going to be chatting with Mr. Ron Graziano, our newest SKILLZ Ambassador. You'll learn a little bit about him, who he is, what he does, and what he's going to be doing going forward. If you guys have any questions for Ron, pop them in the comments and we'll pass those on. So, Mr. Graziano, good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir. How are you guys doing?
Blessed every day.
I can't complain after John comes up with something like that, man. All right. Yeah,
every day is a celebration.
Every day it is. Another day above ground. Rather sniff the daisies than push them, right?
Yes.
So, Ron, welcome to the show, and you are our newest SKILLZ Ambassador. Your name's been popping around in some of the groups for a while as you've been providing content and ideas and nurturing some of the community to help them out. So tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you? Where's your school? What do you do?
So I'm Ron Graziano. Our school is located in Sleepy Hollow, Illinois. It's a small, very small northwestern bedroom community in northwest suburbs of Chicago. We're about 45 minutes from downtown Chicago. We've been there in the location. It's a brand new location. We opened with 0 students. We opened the door on July of 2017. And I opened it as a part-time school while I was still working as a full-time corporate executive.
Nice. How long did it take you to leave your corporate job before you turned into a full-time studio or a full-time owner?
So I think I was both for a while. I think I was a full-time owner and a full-time corporate executive for a period of time. I left my corporate position, my very comfortable 6-figure a year salary job with a company car, corporate account, a huge staff. I left that comfortable, secure environment in November of 2018.
Boy, he made sure that was extremely well known, as we all did, Ron, as we all did. In case you guys don't know, both Michael and I also come from the corporate world, and we did our corporate job along with our studio for a while. That thing is, I took the plunge a lot faster than majority of the people. I left the 6-figure income in engineering, started the studio in 2001, and left it in 2002.
Yeah. So yeah, it was, I had the benefit of doing some remote work, and we had a staff in place. So I it was really making that adjustment. And the point I made such a reference to it because I think there's a lot of school owners who are part-time school owners or half school owners. And I really don't appreciate hobby school. It's not a hobby school. I think anybody who's opening a school and takes on that responsibility, there's nothing about a hobby that comes with that responsibility. But I want to let we've done it and we've been successful. And that's the whole key behind being a true entrepreneur, right? Knowing that you're going to be taking great risk without any assurance whatsoever of great reward.
Yeah, what is it? You jump off the cliff and build the airplane on the way down.
Yeah, it's you were definitely building the plane in flight, right?
So yeah. I love that idea of, as you jumped and you left that corporate, it is very liberating and everything. And you talked about the balance there of like going full-time versus a hobby school. So I think often when people run that quote unquote hobby school, it takes almost as much effort as running a successful full-time adventure. And I think that's one of the things that people don't realize is when you're running that hobby school, for lack of a better term, I don't think there's anything wrong with running a part-time school. But when you're running that hobby school, you have those same stresses of, well, how do I get students and how do I make sure that I'm in code in my garage so my house doesn't get, taken away, or you have all these same stresses. You're just channeling them at staying where you are instead of moving forward. And when you can take that honestly quite scary jump sometimes out of that comfortable, as a telecom engineer, I had a paycheck coming in every week, whether I went to work or not. When you take that scary jump, you worry about how much more stress there's going to be. And I think for a little while there's that breaking the surface tension sort of thing. But once you get your act together and you put all that stress on you had to something really productive, amazing things happen, where you now get to leverage, because you came out of corporate background and also out of military background. So you have tons of leadership there as well. I'm sure that when you gave that free rein to do what you wanted to do, it was like exciting. Let's go.
And this is my second business. So I also owned another business prior to this, where from 2000 to 2011, we owned and operated a commercial landscape company. So my background has really super strong been in the service industry. And we took that company from $30,000 in sales in year 1 to 1.3 million in year 4. Maintained our business at about a $1.5 million annual gross sales. Had 18 full-time employees, a fleet of 6 trucks. I joke because my salary, the salary alone for employees that I had when I was running that company was more than most school owners gross in a year. And that financial responsibility is huge. And that business was acquired in 2011. Somebody finally came along and said, "We're tired of seeing you on the bid sheet. We're just going to acquire your company, and we're tired of competing with you." And so that happened. So living through that, and going through those changes and understanding the importance, it really changed my perspective on the importance of business and understanding your numbers and knowing your growth rate, and really being able to communicate true value, not just the money you're putting in your pocket.
It's funny that you mentioned that, with the amount that you were making with this other business. One of my eye-opening moments, and I've had coaches and mentors, and even when I was with, John and Melody offering me advice, I was chatting with, I had one of our students over, the whole family over, and we were chatting, and I was like, business is doing good. We just broke, I think at the time we just broke 100,000 for the year. And I was like, a lot of martial arts schools can't do this. And I made 100,000 for the year. He's like, "Yeah, I made $1 million last month." And he's a construction guy. And you think of construction guys as like this guy that just drinks beer for breakfast and swings a hammer and makes 20 grand a year, pays it all the child support. And here's this guy like, "Yeah, I did $1 million this month." It's very liberating when you can do $1 million in a month. And I was like, why is it that our industry sees something like a $250,000 school as, oh my God, that's who I want to be, when every other industry, professional or otherwise, and I don't mean professional in the sense of a good business, I mean like legitimately highly trained, profession. Why is it that those professionals, it's common for that business to make 1 to 10 million as a small business, and for us, 100,000 is a big deal?
Well, I mean, a lot of times, most people look at martial arts school owners as a trade, not necessarily that we've gone to school and we've got a degree or, things of that sort, right? And there is nothing wrong with, opening up a martial arts studio without going to college. So, don't get me wrong, but it's the experiences that we.
Here we are. So, good morning.
I don't know what just happened. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
It's the experiences that we. Sorry, I think my phone is acting weird right now.
I've got a poltergeist over there.
Yeah, I know, right? The experiences that we get through life and the experiences that we get through ongoing education from day to day, if we have not gone to college, right? But again, let's go back and say, for those of us who are opening up martial arts studios, because of the stereotype, because of how we grew up in the, I don't know about you guys, but in the 80s, seeing the struggles that our martial arts instructors have gone through. I'm not going to lie to you. 3 of my martial arts instructors lived, slept, ate out of the dojo because they couldn't afford the house and the dojo, right? A lot of them back in the days got divorced because they could maintain their family and maintain the house and maintain the relationships, right? So the stereotype is there. So the way we are today, given the opportunities that we have today as martial arts school owners, should be just like a lot better than back in the 80s and 90s. The stereotype that we all have been labeled with, right?
Yeah, I think it's a perception issue for us as owners too. Having been in the corporate environment and worked on department budgets that exceeded $1 million, I'm used to seeing big numbers. And I don't know why I never applied it to my own life. Go figure. Until more recently. And I think, Ron, you could probably speak to this as well. When you're used to seeing those big numbers, it makes it a little easier to comprehend. I know I sit on the board of my community here, and our budget is about $1 million a year. It's not for profit, it mows the lawn, whatever. But there's times it comes up where a bid will come in and it's like, oh my God, it's $20,000. It's like, and when you set up your business and you're used to making $50,000 a year and your business is now making $60,000, it feels like a lot of money. But to a business, that's like what you should probably have in your business savings to be able to deal with a year like we just had. You don't have that you're not used to those big numbers. So it seems like a lot.
It's the scale, it's just a matter of scale. And so that's what we talk to other owners about a lot, right? So working in the skills community and moving on to that, being able to take that role as a skills ambassador, really just making school owners comfortable with better understanding the numbers. And when you put the numbers in scale, I think it's easier to accept and understand, the difference between business debt and personal debt and how to manage the two and understanding the risks that go along with those things. So it's all comparable. It really changed for me when we sold the business, the other business, and it was a 6-figure capital gain. And I had to write a check to the federal government for $172,000.
Wow.
That was capital gains tax. That hurt. My hand shakes a little bit when I think about it, but
you're sweating a little bit there.
Yeah, see, I'm going back to that moment in time. I'm having a very visceral response to that. But it's just to be able to put it in scale and understand that there's nothing wrong with turning your, when we have that exponential growth and your weekly revenue number turns in, all of a sudden your monthly revenue number turns into your weekly revenue number, and then that weekly revenue number turns into your daily revenue number, and you see those kind of gains. That's awesome. And there's no reason why, as a business owner, we can't. I see people a lot of times, they look at the two things as being mutually exclusive from each other, right? In the martial arts industry, more than most other business industries. You either have to be a super dedicated traditional martial artist, or you have to be an amazing business person, but you can't, both things cannot coexist. It's like oil and water, right? Like as soon as they get together, they repel each other, right? To be the business person, you're selling out on the martial arts. If you want to run a good martial arts school, you have to make money, you have to upgrade your school, you have to do advertising, you have to generate revenues, and you're selling out to the business. Those things can coexist. And when they do, I feel that's where things really, really explode. And that's where I think the martial art owners really, really live their best life, right? It's great for us to have our students live their best life. Why can't we live our best life, right? We should be able to get the same things that we're giving our students.
I had a discussion with one of my martial arts mentors a couple of years back now, and he's very old school. Like you walk into his dojo, it is literally a dungeon dojo. It is a dungeon under his house, and there's none of this. Well, the block goes like this. It's boom. All right, now you've had your face broken. What are you going to do next time? Old school. And for a while, we used to disagree about that concept. Like, you can't sell out. Martial arts is not supposed to be charged for. And then through conversation, and this is why he's my mentor, is because we can have conversations like this. There's no judgment. We discovered that, well, yeah, I'm charging a lot of money for my classes. He doesn't charge a dime. However, my school is professionally cleaned. It is maintained. It is I have an environment in which to train, but I don't require my students to do anything but pay me. That is them giving back. His school, they don't pay a dime. However, his students build things in his backyard. One of his students built him this gorgeous koi pond. They travel with him. He never buys rents a car. They drive him everywhere. It's still a payment. And when we just look at money as a unit of stored work, I did some work, but I didn't need work in return from you right now. So I took $1 instead, which I can give to somebody else for their work. That's all $1 is stored work. When we had this conversation about you're charging probably more than I am in the fact that you are very demanding of their time, attention, dedication to your personal life. And like that moment was a little aha moment for both of us that, he felt much more comfortable about me raising my rates. And now he's probably one of my biggest proponents as he speaks in the martial arts community. And for me, it was like, all right, well, now I can stop harping on the traditional guys that you're not making anything, because they are, and I used to do service for my teacher too. It's no different.
And look, when we came up, you did not think about missing a promotion day, right? It didn't matter whether you were promoting or not. Right? When we came up in traditional martial arts, on promotion day, you were there. You were there from the minute the school opened, and you were one of the last people that left, especially if you were a senior rank or you were a color belt at all, right? Those things have changed. And because the reality is that people buy time now, right? I say it with my employees all the time. My employees, when I pay the employees, I buy their time. Right? I buy their time so that I can reallocate my time on other things, and the difference between working on the business and in the business. So a lot of things have changed throughout the martial arts industry, and I get it, right? Same thing. I came up with I started training in martial arts in South Korea in 1986 in a small back storage room in the Class 6 store, right? In the back of the Class 6 store, Mike knows what the Class 6 store is, right? That's the liquor store on campus, on base. And behind the liquor store on base was this small storage room. And that's where I started training in the martial arts we didn't pay very much. But if he said, Mr. Graziano, tomorrow you come, we paint. I came and I painted. There was no, well, I don't know. Let me see what I'm doing. I have to check on my schedule. I came and I painted.
All right, guys.
That's the difference.
So let's take a quick spin back to SKILLZ. Ron, tell us when you joined the SKILLZ world.
So listen, when we opened the school, my business model did not include 3 to 6 year old kids. I absolutely did not. Nowhere in my business model did I have a space in my plan, in my lesson plan, on my schedule for 3 to 6 year old kids. I was going to be a 7 and over school. I was going to teach the program. I'm a licensed American American Kikido Federation school. Okay. Our federation was founded in 1969. It became a federation in 78, and we have about 35 schools in the federation. Okay. So the Kikido Federation, that's my licensed brand. I didn't have any idea that I was going to have to deal with kids 3 to 6 years old. In fact, if you talk to me in like June, July of 2017, even maybe August of 2017, and you told me, are you going to teach kids 3 to 6 years old? I would have said what most school owners say: I'm not a babysitter. There's a daycare center right down the road. They can drop their kids off right there. I quickly learned that when my leads started rolling in and I started doing my advertising, when 6 out of 10 leads were consistently between the ages of 3 and 6 years old, mostly 4 to 6 years old, I quickly knew I found myself saying no a lot more times than saying yes. And that was not a plan for success. And that's when I was introduced to SKILLZ, and it just changed everything for me. It totally changed the way that I looked at how to teach the martial arts. It totally changed on how I wanted to position myself in the community. It totally changed, everything from the pre-eval all the way up. And SKILLZ has been nothing but an accelerator as a strategic partner in my business. Let me say that again. SKILLZ was and still is an accelerator as a strategic partner in my business. It has nothing to do with the martial arts, so to say.
So I know that you have, with your federation, you have programs in place for your older kids and adults already. And you're running SKILLZ as an adjunct to that for your younger people. But I have also heard you speak of how some of the skill stuff has trickled into and enhanced some of your other things. So between the programs that you're doing, or maybe some of the ideas that you've taken, what has been one of the, either your favorite thing that you've implemented or one of the most impactful skills things that you've implemented in your school?
So, you know, the strategic partnership and the co-branding opportunity is kind of what really makes the value of skills exponential. Yes. So even though I only teach early and basic skills as a program, skills can be found throughout my program from 3 years old all the way to 65 years old. It doesn't matter whether I'm teaching my primary black belt program to a group of basic Aikido kids between the ages of 7 and 55 or 65. All those key things are there. 7 stages of a drill, 10 laws of instruction. Those things have permeated themselves right into our primary program. Our instructors come up, they learn these basic instructor skills, and they use them every single day, every single class on the mat. My favorite program, I think I really enjoy the 5 and 6 year old kids. 5 and 6 year old kids, I think, at a really unique stage in their life, and I think that's where I think we really get our parents talking about their biggest concern is getting their child ready for school. That's what I hear, right? When I really drill down to all the analytical, the difference between qualifiable or quantitative data, you know, the most important data point or data set that we have is hearing parents say at 5 and 6 years old, I've got to get my child ready for school. And I think that's the biggest thing, just getting them ready and those kids. But the skills program, it really can be applied everywhere throughout. And I think there's so many school owners who are struggling for that 3 to 6 year old demographic and feel like, well, if I take on skills, do I have to give up my primary program? You don't have to give up your primary program. You can accelerate that process. You can influence your current students by using, you know, we use pre-evals all the way to 14 years old. So we're using pre-evals for 3 and 4s, 5 and 6s, 7 to 9s, 10 to 14s. You cannot get into our program without going through a pre-eval. Those pre-evals come from skills.
Yeah, I think those solid foundational basics, both the teaching methodologies, the expectations that you have of students, you know, and just the way that you craft your why. Like, why am I teaching this stuff? That goes with anything. I've taught it at, you know, during the height of the pandemic. We had groups going out into the woods to learn survival craft because it was all you were allowed to do. We used skills teaching methodologies to do that. So I think that's something, like you said, people get a little afraid, like I have to give up what I love and what I'm used to. You don't. First and foremost, skills is a teaching method. You know, what you teach is up to you. I mean, we have some best practices that we recommend, but you know what? Life is life, and there's a whole lot of things to teach, and it's just important that you find the best way to teach it.
I mean,
I think that was awesome. My best experience. That was my best experience. My best experience is when I came into the skills community and I started understanding how to deliver the skills program. And I went through that process of starting out as just a basic skills subscriber and saying, okay, let me take a look at this, learning the class plan, understanding the class plan, understanding the calendar, understanding how much is truly really done for you. And then developing a relationship with both you and John and being able to pick up the phone. That's the key thing that I heard every single time I spoke to you guys, right? Was, hey, how does skills want me to do this? And you guys always prefaced it with, how do you need it? How is it best going to fit your culture and your school? How's it going to fit your program? And then let's use the structure and the foundation and make it work for you. And that's why skills is such a core at the core of what we do every day, because I was able to make it mine, but use the best practices that skills provided me.
Perfect. Yes, that's exactly what I was just about to say. It's that relationship between both programs that you're offering, or you know, your quote unquote, you know, old style martial art. I'm tired of saying traditional. The martial arts that we grew up with, right? And skills, because guys, you know, skills has been around for well over 22 years now, in case you guys have not done your homework or did your due diligence to know when skills started. Skills started back in 1999, if not 1998, with the Little Ninja program, right? So if you guys have been in the martial art industry for long and you've utilized some of the services back in the days, that was the NAPMA days. If you guys don't remember the NAPMA days, and
The NAPMA box.
yeah, exactly. And you subscribed to the Little Ninja program, and you got the little packets, you got the little booklets to utilize. So for those of you who are around right now, no, SKILLZ is not a new concept. SKILLZ is now a very thought through, methodical program that's been around for so many years, and now it's so refined to be a very well done for you, digitized. Like, what else can we put in there? A martial arts program. And SKILLZ is about to hit 25 years old in the grand, I guess, concept behind it, right? So it could be its own art, it could be its own tradition, it could be its own thing, right? So the marriage, the relationship that we put when we combine these two concepts together makes it a beautiful, amazing program. Because I also come from a strong organization. They did not like the concept of us doing SKILLZ. Why would you want to step outside? Why would you want to do this? And of course, in the beginning, it's kind of like a father constantly saying, no, 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 no. If you live under my house, you got to abide by my rules, right? And now they're very impressed at how our students look. Our next commander-in-chief under me, Dane Turner, has went and fought in the world competitions multiple times overseas. Not only that, last year as a national champion, he received the Iron Man award because he had to fight from the bottom all the way up to the top to receive the national championship. And it was literally nine fights, not 9 rounds, 9 different fights in a row without a break. Like, who's going to do that? You know what I mean? So SKILLZ does a lot for us, a whole lot for us.
It's so much more than just lesson plans, though.
Yes.
John, the floor plan at my school right now is a floor plan that you and I crafted at like 10 o'clock on a Sunday night on a phone call, right? We're sending pictures back and forth, and you're like, hey, man, just get on the phone and talk to me. And it's like 10 o'clock on a Sunday night, and I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about putting this half wall here. I'm thinking about doing this. It's like, no, move that, do this, put it here, put it there. And the floor plan that I currently have in the 4,800 square foot school, and that, we grew out of it. So part of we opened the school in 2,400 square feet. Not only did I quit my corporate job in November of 2018, in May of 2019, we moved out of my 2,400 square foot into 4,800 square feet because we grew out of it. We outgrew the school. I had no idea that we were going to have that type of growth. And that's the other value, being able to jump on the phone and get on the phone with Mike and say, I'm not sure, it seems like I'm not running the testing right. What's going to happen? They're going to run out of time. I'm trying to forecast, when I bring a student in. And it was like, why are you worried about that? Why are you worried about that piece? Why don't you just get them through the program, and they will naturally evolve and move up. And there's no reason to only be locked into the age. You can perform somebody up. Right? If somebody does better, if they blow up that evaluation at 4 years old, 4.5 years old, why don't you put them in the 5-year-old class? And I never had that mindset. So a lot of what you guys talking about are that abundance mindset that SKILLZ brings. And I love talking to people in the SKILLZ program just about how it is that we can, really make their life, what Melody and the executive staff talks about, making your life easier and more enjoyable. Why can't we enjoy what we're doing?
Absolutely.
I know I'm a little biased and everything, but if you guys are not SKILLZ members and you haven't been part of the SKILLZ community or part of the SKILLZ group, like attracts like in some cases. And there are some pretty brilliant school owners, each in their own venue and with their own area of expertise in the SKILLZ group. And being able to speak with them and learn from them, as one of my mentors says, there's no big I, little you in SKILLZ. We're all constantly learning from one another. And I think that is one of the strengths of the organization.
The thing I'm most excited about right now is the Parent SKILLZ program. Having gone through Parent SKILLZ last semester in the CPNS course, the Certified Pediatric Ninja Specialist course, how powerful Parent SKILLZ is going to be. This is really going to take our business and our value to another level. I talk a lot of times about two levels of customers. My parents are one level of customers. My students are another level of customers. Being able to utilize that tool and really connect with our parents and help them because they need help. There is no parenting hand guide. I'm raising my 13-year-old grandson who's ADHD, oppositional behavior, reactive attachment disorder. I'm living that struggle every day. And being able, I knew that there was no resource for me when I had to start dealing with those things. I really didn't understand. And having this parent skills program and being able to share it with our parents, not just in our school, but in our community, that is so, so powerful.
Yeah, I think for many, many years, a lot of us saw parents as like, just drop your kid off and get out so I could do what I got to do. Parents were the opposition almost. And that was a big mindset shift when I decided to become an educator instead of just being teaching people how to fight. Was I get them for this amount of time. If I can train the parents as much as I train the kids, and that's not to say that parents are doing anything wrong. That's something I recognize now too, now that I'm a parent. We're all doing the best we can, but when we can all work together and enhance that child's experience with consistency, I think that becomes a really powerful tool, especially from a business perspective. Now I have somebody that's my tribe, not somebody
especially if you understand the value of parent engagement. If you really understand and understand the value that parent engagement provides you and how that works for your connection and anchoring your parent and your family to your academy, how we make that step one step further out the door so much more difficult. We can't change the fact that our students are constantly one step in, one step out, right? We constantly say every day they leave the academy, they're one step closer to quitting. But I try to make that step so enormous, right? That's not going to be a little tiny step. When they have to make that step, it's literally going to be a jump off the cliff kind of step. And that parent engagement piece is huge, and parent skills is just going to really, really make that. And you're right, Mike. I mean, changing our parents into partners and not the opposition, take the walls down. We've seen a lot of transfer students in the last quarter. We've had like 6 transfer students. And one of the biggest things they say is, you mean I can sit right here on the mat? I can get on the mat. I can see my child. I can speak to my child. Absolutely, you can. You better be cheering them on. You need to be cheering them on. They need your support.
That's funny because my first school, the people that were advising me at the time said, you have to make your parent area as small as possible. It was literally 6 feet by 6 feet. And the seating should be so uncomfortable that nobody wants to stay. So we had these sharp, hard plywood benches for them to sit on. And there was only 3 spots to sit. And that was the business model back then. And we wonder why I closed my first business within a year. So, Ron, I know we're coming up on time here. If people wanted to find you and maybe chat with you about what SKILLZ is and what your experience has been with it, how can they find you?
Look, super easy. I mean, I'm pretty much everywhere, right? I mean, I was not on social media. I had 0 social media footprint before I started this business. I was in a private investigation business. I had a law enforcement background. I was kind of like under the radar a lot. I mean, really, really like underneath the radar. And so my social media footprint really grew. I had to learn a lot about it when I opened this school. And so you can find me pretty much on Facebook. You can find, message me you go to the website and find me on the website. It doesn't matter. Call me, send me a Facebook message. You can Instagram me. It doesn't matter. Whatever means of communication you need to find Ron Graziano. I'm out here. I'm present in all the skills groups. Mike, when I first came into the community, it was about a year in or so. I think I remember we kind of exchanged a post where I jumped into a new program and you're like, oh, of course Ron Graziano's in this program. Is there a program you're not involved in? And it's just because getting out in the community and learning and that immersion is what it's about. So Ron Graziano on Facebook, KMA Sleepy Hollow is our Facebook page, KMASleepyHollow.com. You might find some consistency in our brand message. I don't know. But KMA Sleepy Hollow, you'll find me pretty much anywhere. Or just find me Ron Graziano. You can find me through the skills group, the free group, the license group, the gold group, the lifetime gold group, anywhere where there's a skills brand, you can find me. And I want to just make, I want to stand up to that promise that Melody is making and the executives team is making, that, that tagline is not just a tagline. It's not just a corporate logo. Making people's job easier and more enjoyable. That's been my experience, and I just want to help other owners who are not sure do the same thing. Learn how to be more successful and just have a more enjoyable life. And my Vishla is barking at the birds outside.
Yeah. So guys, reach out to Ron. I have very literally seen Ron give somebody the shirt off his back.
Literally. Yes. Yes.
Very, very giving individual. And in fact, highlight the level of connection that Ron builds when putting the graphic together for today's post. It was really hard to find a picture of Ron where it was just Ron. He's always with somebody, his family, his students. There's a lot of connection happening there. And I think that's one of the things that Ron has to offer you guys is that level of service and connection. All right, Mr. Salama, any parting thoughts or words as we take it out for the day?
Well, the one thing that, Ron did, I guess, say over and over and over today, which is very true. As SKILLZ Worldwide, we're not just here to talk to you guys about the program. We're not just here to tell you guys come and join us. No, we are here to definitely make your transition into SKILLZ, your operation as a martial arts school, your training your team, everything about running your studio. We want to make it easy for you guys. We want to make it enjoyable for you guys. So the one thing that we all did in the past is we all worked in the business. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, those individuals who have joined SKILLZ and they became gold members and they became lifetime members, maybe even silver members, I'm not sure yet, but we all work on the business, right? I'm going to say it again because I've been talking to Mike about it. My wife and I, Jennifer and I, are very blessed to have the team that we have, because with my situation in the past 3 weeks, I haven't been on the show because of a family emergency. I was gone for literally 3 weeks, right? And we didn't have to worry about a thing, not a thing. The team has had it all under control. Why? Because the SKILLZ platform gave us an amazing foundation. I don't have to worry about a thing, not anything at all. And they were doing pre-evaluations. They were signing people up without me having to blink an eye. I think I answered 2 phone calls, right? Because they were on the floor teaching classes, right? But guys, Ron, you have been doing an amazing job bringing your studio up in such a little amount of time. I know, for Michael and I, it took us almost 2 years on our own to fully implement SKILLZ, maybe a year to 2 years, something like that. Right now, with the systems that we have in place, with the coaching that we have in place, with the groups that we have in place, you guys can take SKILLZ from 0 to 100 in a matter of 3 to 6 months. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, like nothing. We've got it all methodically laid out.
I am a little bit jealous of the people just starting out now.
Right.
I had to close 2 schools. I closed 2 businesses before I realized what was possible. And now you can log on and have all of this training and all these resources at your fingertips. This is such an amazing time. While all these other businesses in the world are struggling, this is such an amazing time to be a martial arts school or child development center, depending on where on the spectrum you fall. It's almost like you have to try to fail nowadays.
No, seriously, you have to try to fail.
Yeah, the community is so strong, and there's so many examples of people who recently had amazing success as a result of taking the implementation offer that's available to you within the school, the SKILLZ plan. And I agree with you, John. I mean, there is no reason. It's daunting in the beginning, but everybody who takes an opportunity to do that fullest implementation. I mean, you look at people who are out there who are just crushing it right now. I mean, amazing ninjas out there, and people who I've met over the last 3 years. It's just been phenomenal. People in our SKILLZ community. I will go back and I look and I was like, oh my God, I remember being with Eric at the Marco Muscle event. I met Tay at the Market Mess event, and now we're good friends. Tim Flynn. I mean, I'm on the phone with Tim. We're messaging each other. He's constantly back and forth with each other. Just all, people who are just throughout the community because it's so accessible. And I don't know that was available before.
Yep. All right, gentlemen. So I want to be mindful of your time. I know you guys have days to crush and
there's my pup.
Scratch. Yep. You. So, Mr. Graziano, thank you again for your time. I appreciate you so much, and thank you for coming on the show today. Mr. Salama, as always, I am very happy to have you back in action.
Thank you. Glad to be back.
This show is a much better show for you here with me.
You got this, bro. You got this.
Well, there's a lot of things we have, but it's always easy when you have, your brothers at your back, right?
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. There's nothing left to do but go get it.
Crush your week.